No one's coming to your birthday party. Grow up. That was the message my mom sent. Not privately. In the family group chat. On my birthday. I read it twice. Then replied with just one word. Understood. Right after that, I opened my banking app and canceled the $2,300 rent payment I'd been covering for them every month. The next morning, I drove to their house. I didn't go inside. Just used the key fob to take back the car they'd been driving for 2 years. Then I called the bank and shut down every credit card they'd ever used under my name. It wasn't out of anger. I just finally stopped playing a role I never agreed to. Their silence afterward? That wasn't confusion. It was shock. The kind that settles into your bones when you realize something is actually, truly over. Not a tantrum. Not a bluff. Just a door closing, for good. They didn't think I'd follow through. They thought I'd sulk for a bit, maybe make a scene, and then get over it like always. But this time was different. Because it wasn't the first hit. It was the last. The final period in a long, humiliating sentence. Where I was never really their son. Just a resource. A walking ATM with a familiar face they could conveniently ignore. I'm 28. I live in a small apartment in southwest Denver. I work IT support for a healthcare software company. Not glamorous, but stable. And I really believed, for a while, that we'd made peace. That maybe, just maybe, I'd earned a place at the table. But they didn't want proof. They wanted silence. And gratitude, just for letting me orbit what they still dared to call family. The real shock wasn't the message itself. It was how many people ignored it. My aunt reacted with a heart emoji. My sister commented with a cake emoji. My father forwarded a meme of a clown that said, "Guess who's turning 12 again?" Not one person said, "Happy birthday." Not one asked if I was okay. I sat in the dark, holding my phone. And honestly, I wasn't even hurt. I was stunned by how long I'd let it go on. I'd been paying their rent since I was 24. Not because I'm rich. Not because they asked nicely. But because they made it sound like I had to. It's just temporary. You're the only one who's stable right now. We gave you everything. Now it's your turn. That temporary lasted 4 years. Rent, groceries, gas, Wi-Fi, repairs. I paid for all of it. Even the vet bill for their cat. Not because I wanted to spoil them, but because if I didn't, I'd be guilt into it later. And the passive-aggressive reminders never stopped. Power might get shut off again. Mom's back hurts. How are we supposed to move? Emma's car broke down. She really needs help. Can you spot her? That last one. Emma's car. I paid for it. She still drives it. Still posts selfies in it. One caption read, "Thankful for people who truly support me, Redheart." She didn't even tag me. Emma, by the way, is my little sister. She's 25. Unemployed. Yet somehow always on vacation. My parents say she's just finding her way. Yeah, through my bank account. Once, I asked my dad why Emma never helped out. He said, "She's not like you. She's not built for pressure. You are." And that's the thing. I was built for pressure. Because they made sure of it. But even pressure cracks. Last Thanksgiving, I drove 5 hours to surprise them. Brought wine, groceries, a pie. Mom opened the door and blinked. "Oh, you came." Then yelled over her shoulder, "Emma, tell Josh to hide the gifts. Your brother's here." I asked, "Who's Josh?" She laughed. "Emma's boyfriend. They've been staying here." Josh had my old room. I slept on the couch. At dinner, Dad made a toast. He raised his glass and said, "Here's to the man who pays the bills, but still can't keep a girlfriend." Everyone laughed. Even Emma. Especially Emma. I didn't say a word. Just drank my wine. Then helped with the dishes. Then paid for the plumber when the sink backed up. Because that's what family does, right? Weeks later, Emma posted a selfie with Josh in front of a cabin. Caption, "Family trip." I wasn't invited. Didn't even know they went, until a coworker said, "Hey, wasn't that your sister on the Explore page? Looks like a fun vacation." I checked the photo. There they were. Mom, Dad, Emma, Josh. Matching beanies. Holding mugs. I zoomed in on Emma's. It read, "Best daughter ever." They didn't text me once during that trip. That same week, my landlord emailed me. Reminder, rent due tomorrow. Turns out, they forgot to tell me they missed the last month's transfer. They just assumed I'd figure it out. That I'd pay, like always. And I did. But I wasn't going to forget. Then one day while working from home, my phone buzzed non-stop. The family group chat again. I thought someone had died. Nope. Dad had posted a screenshot of my Amazon wishlist. "Look at this grown man asking for socks and shampoo for his birthday. Guess we didn't raise him tough enough. Can't even buy his own lotion." My cousin Ashley replied with a pic of toilet paper. "Here you go, champ." Emma added, "He probably expects us to gift wrap this too." I didn't stare because it hurt. I stared because it was so expected. They didn't even try to hide it anymore. They just assumed I'd never push back. So I didn't. Not yet. But I started collecting everything. Screenshots, texts, emails, receipts. Proof. Of the rent. Of the lies. Of the credit card fraud. Even the time I found out my mom used my credit score to open a Target card. When I confronted her, she said, "It's not a big deal. You weren't using it." When I told her that was illegal, she snapped. "Don't threaten me, Mr. IT man. You'd be nothing without this family." A week later, I found out Emma had told her friends I was on the spectrum. Not true. Just easier for her to explain me away. Still, I said nothing. I worked. I paid. I smiled. But I was building something quietly. And they had no idea. Because when you build in silence, your explosion becomes their earthquake. It happened on my birthday. Again. 2 weeks after the group chat shame. 2 weeks after the vacation I didn't know about. 2 weeks after the missed rent. Emma texted, "Hey, Mom says come by tonight. Family dinner." I left her on read. 10 minutes later, Dad called. "Don't make this harder than it has to be. We're trying to move forward." They always said, "move forward," when they wanted me to forget how much they hurt me. This time, I said yes. But I didn't come alone. I walked into that same house I helped repaint. The one with the fridge I bought. Exactly on time. I had a duffel bag. And a backup drive in my pocket. Mom hugged me like nothing happened. Dad handed me a beer. Emma smirked, like she'd already won. They started talking about healing. About forgiveness. About how I had overreacted by canceling the rent and cards. And then my mom said the one thing that split it all wide open. "You're still part of this family. But you've made mistakes too." I took a steady breath, reached into my bag, pulled out my laptop, and placed it on the table. I opened a folder titled Truth. Dad scoffed, "What's this, homework?" I didn't answer. I just clicked play. The first clip was a voicemail from Mom, left last year. Her voice sharp and furious. "Grow up and pay your sister's tuition before she ends up like you." Second clip. Emma on speaker, "He's always been weird. Just let him pay for stuff. It makes him feel useful." Then came the files. Screenshots of money transfers, unpaid bills, group chats. Emma's Instagram stories, proudly bragging about spending my money. I turned the screen toward them. They leaned in, then froze. I stood, walked into the kitchen, and came back with a USB stick. Plugged it into the smart TV. The screen went black, then flashed with an image, a loan application. Dad's name as the primary borrower. My name listed as co-signer. But no signature from me. I looked straight at him. "You used my social. You never asked. You put me on the hook for your debt." He opened his mouth. I raised a hand. "It's already reported. Your account is frozen under fraud investigation. You'll get the letter next week." Mom gasped. Emma laughed. "Wow. You're so dramatic. What's next? Suing us? I smiled. Not me. Him. That's when the doorbell rang. I walked over and opened it. Jake stood there. Emma's ex. The one she lied about. The one she accused. The one she nearly destroyed. He stepped in, black folder in hand, and sat across from her. You want to tell them, or should I? Emma went pale. Why are you here? He opened the folder. Inside were printed screenshots. Fake messages she'd crafted to frame him. A photo of her handwritten notes detailing how to emotionally break him before the breakup. A transcript of voice memos she had spliced to sound like him yelling. Mom broke down in tears. Dad stared blankly at the wall. Emma stood. You two are crazy. This is harassment. Jake didn't flinch. You're not the victim. You're the villain. And I'm done pretending. He walked out. I followed. At the door, I turned back and said the last thing I would ever say in that house. You wanted me to play the good son, the quiet wallet. But now, I'm writing the script. I grabbed my laptop, my drive, and left. Behind me, chaos erupted. Mom shouting Emma's name. Dad demanding I come back and fix this. Emma throwing something. Maybe a glass. I didn't turn around. Because when you finally detonate the truth, you don't look back to watch the ashes fall. The next morning, I uploaded everything. Not just the screenshots. Not just the voice notes. The entire archive. A single post titled When Family Treats You Like an ATM with a Heartbeat. Inside the link, every transaction, the forged loan, Emma's edited messages, the breakup blueprint, Mom's voicemail telling me to man up, Dad's Thanksgiving joke about me not keeping a girlfriend but still paying the bills. I didn't write a sob story. I didn't ask for pity. I wrote facts. I dropped receipts. And ended with one line. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I'm just done pretending this is what family looks like. Then I hit post and powered off my phone. By noon, it had gone viral. Not celebrity viral, but loud enough. Thousands of shares. Hundreds of comments. Strangers wrote things like, "This is my story too. My brother did the same. You're not alone. This level of proof is wild. Go off, King." Even mutuals weighed in. A guy from high school wrote, "I always knew something was off about your sister. This confirms it." I didn't reply. I let the post breathe. By 3 p.m., my aunt, the same one who heart-reacted to Mom's birthday insult about me, posted, "Air your dirty laundry in private. Family doesn't belong on the internet." 0 likes. Emma posted a black square on Instagram. Caption, "Betrayal hits hardest from the ones you fed." I almost laughed. Then Dad went live on Facebook. Yes, live. Sitting in the garage I once helped him repair, holding his phone with a shaky hand, he said. "My son's confused. He's mentally fragile. He doesn't know what he's saying." Behind him, a pyramid of empty beer cans. He went on about forgiveness, about how families make mistakes. Said he hoped we could heal. In the comments, his old golf buddy wrote, "Didn't you say you forged his signature once?" Dad liked it. Big mistake. Because I had video proof. A clip from 3 years ago. Dad, beer in hand, on the couch, telling Emma, "It's fine. I used his social. He won't notice. And if he does, he owes us. He wouldn't even be alive without us." I posted it as a reply. No caption. Just the date. Then I logged off again. But I wasn't just watching them fall apart. I was building. That same week, I launched a YouTube channel. Just one video at first. Direct to camera. Titled When Helping Becomes Enabling. No names. No attacks. Just my voice, calm, but sharp. You can love people and still walk away. You can help and still be used. And when they show you who they are, believe them. It hit 4 lakh views in 3 days. A podcast for adult children of narcissists invited me to speak. Then another. Then a third. Then a publisher. I wasn't chasing attention. I wasn't looking to become a brand. But truth. People were starving for it. For someone to finally say what they were too scared to whisper. Mom tried one last time. She sent a photo. A letter from the mortgage company. The house was under review. Payments had defaulted. Her message, hope you're proud. They might take her home. I didn't reply. Instead, I sent back a screenshot. Her name tied to every dollar I'd sent them over the past 3 years. Over $84,000. Caption, you took it. Not me. She left me on read. 3 hours later, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Emma. One line. I hope you never have kids. You'd be a terrible father. I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because it was sad. And completely, utterly pathetic. They tried everything. Rage, guilt, threats. Anything but taking responsibility. And none of it worked. The best part? I moved quietly. No posts. No forwarding address. A downtown condo, 10th floor, bought under a different name through a legal trust. Fully paid off. New view. New number. New silence. They tried calling. They tried tracking me through relatives. Didn't work. Because I was done. Not just with their games, but with the whole idea of owing them anything. Not my money. Not my time. Not even a reply. A month later, I changed my number. Not out of fear, but out of boredom. Tired of guilt-soaked voicemails. Tired of Emma's cryptic Instagram posts about narcissistic siblings. Tired of Dad's drunk emails that started with, "You don't know how hard it was for me," and ended with, "Let's profit off this mess." They weren't reaching out to apologize. They were trying to reclaim the story. But I had already taken the narrative, bled it dry, and buried it. They just hadn't noticed the funeral. I didn't disappear. I upgraded. I moved into a condo on the 10th floor. Modern, clean, cold, exactly how I wanted it. Tall ceilings. Quiet neighbors who don't ask questions. No family portraits. No group photos on the fridge. No spare key under the map for, just in case. I didn't tell anyone where I lived. Not even my closest friends. Because this part of my life, the peace, the silence, the wholeness, wasn't something I wanted to share. It was something I earned. I furnished it slowly. One chair. One table. One piece at a time. No debt. No rush. No permission needed. I remember standing barefoot in the middle of my new living room that first night, cold tile underfoot, holding a mug of coffee made in my own kitchen, and realizing no one here was going to yell. No one was going to shame me for not doing enough. No one was going to ask for money or rides or just a little help this month. There would be no group chats. No fake birthdays. No memes about me shared behind my back. Just silence. Beautiful, earned silence. I started working full-time for myself. The business had been a quiet side project for years. Careful, hidden. But after I blew everything up, it became a beacon. Understood Consulting. Named after the only word I ever sent my mother on my birthday. I built the website in one night, designed the logo myself, secured the domain, registered the trademark. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about never again asking for permission to exist. Now, I help others walk out of the same cage I grew up in. I speak. I coach. I listen. And I stay private. Because my life isn't a reality show for my family to watch and twist. It's not a redemption arc they get to hijack. It's a fortress, with locked gates and motion sensors. And I sleep better than I ever have. 3 weeks after I moved, I received a manila envelope at my P.O. box. Inside, a handwritten letter from Mom. Slanted cursive on floral stationery, written in red ink. You used to be our sweet boy. I don't know who this bitter man is. We made mistakes, but airing them like that. You humiliated us. You ruined us. Maybe one day you'll realize how hard it was for us. Maybe one day you'll grow up. It ended with, I'm praying for you. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just wrote 3 words on the back with a Sharpie. Keep your prayers. Then I tossed it in the trash. 2 days later, Dad emailed. Subject line, idea. What if we went on Dr. Phil? You tell your side, I tell mine. We make peace. Audiences love father-son reconciliations. Think about the reach. Could help both your business and mine. Attached was a childhood photo of me, 5 years old, crying at Chuck E. Cheese, while Dad smiled at the camera, holding up a beer. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Then I saved it. Not as a keepsake, as a reminder. They don't want peace. They want a platform. That night, I released a new video on my channel. Simple. No background music. Just me. They keep asking if I'll make peace. If I'll come back. If I'll forgive. But peace doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending your abuser had a hard childhood. It doesn't mean sitting at the same table that once fed you shame. Peace means absence. Absence of chaos. Absence of noise. Absence of their names. I'm not your son anymore. I'm the consequence. The video got 2 million views in a week. One day, I was walking out of the office and saw a couple staring at the logo on the door. I paused. The woman looked at me and asked, "Are you him from the story?" I nodded slowly. She said only one thing. "Thank you." I didn't think people like that existed. That tiny moment meant more than all the birthdays I ever begged them to remember. Because I no longer needed their applause. The world was full of people lied to by those who claimed to love them. And now, I was proof they could survive it. I haven't spoken to my family in over a year. I don't plan to. They still post. Still hint. Still rewrite. I let them. Because you don't argue with ghosts. You just stop haunting yourself with their stories. Sometimes, late at night, I walk past the mirror in my hallway and catch a glimpse of myself. Older. Still. But not bitter. Just unchained. Because I didn't escape a toxic family. I outgrew it. And there's no coming back from that. The shop plaque still hangs in my office. Steel plate. Brushed finish. Perfect screws. We don't rebuild what broke you. We build what frees you. Underneath, a second, smaller sign I had custom made last week reads, "Guess who's not turning 12 again?" Every time I see it, I smile. Because this year, the party's mine. And no one uninvited gets in.